1823 Main Street.
Home of everything to do with Disney travel in style. We are your hosts.
I am Mike Bellabraddock.
And I'm Amelia Bellabraddock. And today we're going to talk about the 5 best photo spots to show off your style at Walt Disney World.
Yes, and these are very specific locations for style and fashion. So if you're an Instagrammer or an influencer, or you want to be, or you just want to have some pretty cool shots of your favorite outfit that you've put together for your Disney vacation, these are 5 top locations, favorites of ours at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, and that being said, not every location is perfect for every outfit, so you kind of got to use your judgment a little bit. They're fairly straightforward, but I'm not going to show up in something that's totally out of place when there could be a better photo spot that fits my outfit.
Or you might. So what you want to think about is, as we get into them, we can talk about it more. But let's just say at this point, you can have a location that complements your outfit, or you can dramatically contrast your outfit. For example, could you imagine a picture of someone in a Western gear on the moon? That would be a contrast.
Yeah. I guess I should be more clear. I'm not going to do that. However, it is an old move, so it probably would get you like more notice and more interactions on Instagram if you're going to post it, or on TikTok or something like that. So from that perspective, maybe you want to do a contrast.
And let's talk about a few considerations, just general photography, before we go into these 5 locations. And they're not in any particular order because we all have our favorites. Amelia's wanting to change my order, but I said they're not in a particular order.
They're in a particular order for me.
So remember that no matter where you're doing this, and we are talking today about outdoor photo locations, not indoor, because anything indoor, you're going to need lighting. You may need flash. That changes the coloring of your outfits and that sort of thing.
Not to mention opens up a whole new can of worms with photo spots.
Yeah, you just need more gear if you really want to get a great picture, or more considerations for the color spectrum of your flash and so on. So we're talking about outdoor spots today. And as you may know, you want good natural light. So mornings and late afternoons are best, where you get different glows. Overcast days are great. Basically, you want to avoid being in the sun anytime around the middle of the day, because that's going to be harsh light and that's hard to work with. Other things to consider, and the reason we're not doing, I'll tell you right now what is not on this list: the boring, overdone walls.
The purple wall.
The purple wall.
The
walls I hadn't even heard of. The bubblegum wall. I mean, I know the walls, but I haven't seen all the names people have given them.
I have no issues with walls, but you can discover your own walls.
The thing about walls is, in a lot of these Disney locations, focal length is important, right? So these are great outdoor locations, and that's the distance between you as the photographer, your subject, and the wall. You want things spread out a bit generally, because if you're taking these fashion and style, you want the subject and the clothes to sort of stand out. So walls often don't, like the purple wall in Magic Kingdom. There is not enough room there, really.
I was just going to say, for me at least, it feels very one-dimensional when it's just you and the wall. And sometimes if you want a photo with a backdrop, that's good. But you can only have so many different backdrops before it starts to get boring.
Yeah, and then aperture and focal length. If you're into photography, you want to consider those things. You want a bokeh or a blurred background in some cases, so you really have your subject stand out. So in all of these locations, we allow you to do that if you're a little bit more technical.
Yeah, and even if you're not, right now, at least all Pinterest, Instagram, whatever, everything trending is the aesthetic photos and the detail shots and all of those different types of things that you really can't get from one photo of a wall. So right now, not busy photos, but just photos with more kind of substance and an element of realism to them that are easier to find in these spots, because there's lots to work with and there's lots to sort of fit to what you specifically want your vibe to be.
And finally, another great reason to go early to do these is all of these photos are going to look better without people in them.
Of course.
You know, with AI, 1 or 2 people, okay, you can remove those with a lot of apps now. But if there's a whole crowd of people with strollers and, that gets messy, unless you're going for the look of the blurred crowd emotion, which you can also fake with post-production, Photoshop, and other places. But generally, try to get nobody in the picture.
Every Europe travel trip. everyone's like, go to the Trevi Fountain at 5 a.m. It's the same thing, right? It's the exact same thing. You just got to go early, get the good photos.
It's just like the park. So go early, but don't go on rides. Everyone's going to be running to rides.
Oh, yeah.
Do your photo shoot,
go early
relax.
and take photos.
No, if you care about fashion and style, if you have a fashion business like ours, or you're an Instagrammer, or you want to be an influencer and you want to get free clothes from places, yeah, go early and, put some real thought and effort in. Great photos rarely just happen.
Especially
there's a lot of thought.
If you're not a thrill rides person and other members of your party are running off to rope drop, wherever, Guardians or trying to get the early lightning lane for Tron or Rockin' or wherever they're going, you can have a good time, hang around, take some photos.
All right, I'm sure everybody's saying enough of this already. I'll go back and listen to the tips later. Where are these 5 places you love? Let us dive into them right now. Again, no particular order, but kick us off with your first place.
Mine are in a particular order. So for me, number 5 is the Animal Kingdom Harambe Marketplace area. So there's a lot of different options. You can take them with Mickey Mouse. There's a couple different walls here. There's just a lot of scenery and a lot of different options for backgrounds and different things that you can try and incorporate.
Yeah, I love this area. It's a great area because, as Amelia just said, there's a lot of walls, but they're with paintings on them. So, of course, Imagineers make this look like authentic African sort of older style. So it's very colorful and vibrant. But we talked about walls not allowing space. Here they do. There's the popular ones like that Fichwa Fellow wall that has that sort of Mickey Mouse painting on it. There's the You Are Most Beautiful wall. Those are classics that people like, but they're very colorful. There's a lot of color here. There are a ton of locations in and around Harambe Marketplace. Again, where everyone's running to Flight of Passage or even the Safari, you go and get your morning pictures. And I'm telling you, there's some great photos to be had in that area, in particular in Animal Kingdom Park.
All right, next up, Epcot. So many photos to take here, too many to count. So I'm narrowing it down for you. The Morocco Pavilion and the France Pavilion, especially by the fence around to World Showcase Lagoon, stunning.
Yeah, the Morocco Pavilion, if you have never ventured actually into it,
a lot more than meets the eye.
There's a lot more than meets the eye. And towards the very back of it, there are some great photo locations. It can be shaded. There's not a lot of people around. Similar to the vibe of Animal Kingdom Harambe area. In a way, it has got a unique textures and colors in the background. There are a lot of angles you can take there. A really great spot to go for some fashion and style photos. And yeah, the France Pavilion, again, you got to get there when there's no crowds, but it really gives you that old world charm. And there's just a lot of colors, fountains, and things in particular versus a lot of the other lands that I really think are great. And then, as Amelia mentioned, all the way around World Showcase Lagoon, there are certain opportunities sort of along the fence. If you want the blue water in the background and you sort of slightly blur the background, really great shots there. Those are some of our favorites in that park.
It's always nice to incorporate water. There's a lot of bodies of water in Disney World, even though they aren't the ocean. It's always nice to sort of have them in the background or have them by your shoes, by your water, food, whatever. It just adds another element to the photo that makes it feel more intricate than, again, just a wall.
And the thing about water, when you're shooting fashion and style photos, you don't want a busy background generally because that's going to clash with your outfit and the model, or whoever's, your subject. So that's where blurring things come into effect. That's why you want some focal length distance in between your model and the wall or background. And water, a solid blue color like that, or even a distant background, gives you that sort of canvas for your subject to be on. So those are our favorites in Epcot. What's next?
Next up, moving into the top 3 and staying in the Epcot area, we have Disney's Boardwalk. All along here have excellent shot options.
Yeah, the boardwalk itself, not inside the resort, but there are so many great different ways you look. You can have a shot. There's benches there that are cool. Someone can be sitting on a bench and you take a low angle shot straight down with more of the boardwalk itself, the wood, or the background shops and restaurants.
Exactly. Everything from the storefronts to the lighthouse, the docks, the water. There's just so many options.
Yeah, you can point that way towards Yacht Beach across Crescent Lake, and then you have another great point of view.
Every single angle is pretty good here.
The thing about this area is if you want that sunset golden glow, it is perfectly positioned for late afternoon photos as well.
Yeah.
And you can get, it's generally not overcrowded. So you can get those shots with less people in them. And, if you're lucky, no post-production for removing people.
Yeah.
Or only one or two. Or sometimes they don't matter, just depending on what the people are wearing, how they look, what you're trying to achieve. But the boardwalk area is a great area for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes other people in the photo isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can complement the outfit, you can sort of blur them or have the long exposure and have them focus more on your outfit, but there's definitely options depending on what time of day you want to go and what photo you're looking for.
And you really don't want identifiable faces.
Yeah,
so
well,
I always try to get in the backs of people's heads, or they're far enough away that you can't really tell who it is.
You're not taking a photo of them.
All right, our top 2 spots, or your top 2. I had no particular order.
I have a
particular
order.
Although these are great spots.
Yes. And next up, pretty much anywhere on the grounds of the Grand Floridian Resort.
Yeah, the Grand Floridian Resort, of all the resorts, has so many great opportunities for fashion and style photos. You can get the resort itself if your outfit is more conducive to that sort of upscale or Victorian look, or the white and red. It's a very simple color palette. Looks great.
Yeah.
There are a lot of green lawns that you can use.
They've got pretty nice floral arrangements.
Yeah, there's tons of flowers. There's
pools,
water.
There's lots of water.
There's beach. There's just everything there. And let's say compared to the Polynesian, for example, which used to be good until they built the bungalows and it's got a lot more crowded, there is less room at the Polynesian generally for setting up these kind of long shots. And, watch what the wedding photographers are doing there if you want some ideas, because they're always out and about on those grounds.
That's true.
It is a great resort. Early in the morning, you can get some fantastic photos. We stay there all the time, so that's when we love to go out, and nobody's around. Very few people.
Yeah.
Just the runners and me with my camera. So it's a really great spot with a ton of options for outdoor photos for your fashion and style.
I mean, not to mention inside, but outside just offers so many diverse options that it's really actually extraordinary.
In the coming weeks, we'll do an indoor version of this because there, like I mentioned off the top, there are other things to consider for indoor photos that I would like to bring up, even if you use your phone, because, we've been working on rigs for ourselves for how to get good off-camera flash with your phone from a separate flash unit, and we have a good setup that we can talk about. All right, finally, your number 1, very popular spot.
Well, I just think it's not even that it's the best, but it's just such a classic. I'm sure everybody was waiting for it. Cinderella Castle.
Cinderella Castle. And you know what I love about this is go beyond the front head-on shot.
And I don't mean the Main Street long shot that there's 10 PhotoPass photographers taking. Not what I mean here, people.
Yeah, if you go, again, early in the morning into Magic Kingdom at Rope Drop and all around the castle, you see a lot of these photos. Start paying attention to what other fashion style photographers are doing, and even on, Instagram and other places. On all angles of that castle, virtually from all sides.
Literally every single inch of that castle is a nice photo.
There are great photos.
From the fountains to the towers, to even the back of it has some nice architecture and design there.
One consideration I'd raise here. So actually, just building on what you just said, there are spots where you can just use the cool castle bricks as your background. On those kind of shots, and those tend to be, there's some cool runs around towards Sleepy Hollow, that side, the left side of the castle if you're looking at it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what the sky is on those days. But what I was going to say is generally for this location in particular, you do want a clear blue sky. Clouds sort of ruin the whole ambiance.
Or light, fluffy, few and far between clouds are okay.
Some blue really helps to contrast the castle itself, and depending on your outfit.
Because the castle's pink now.
Yeah, it's just, don't get me started on that. But yeah, so Cinderella Castle, a classic icon. Another thing I'd like to raise here before we close out is it depends what you're going for, because in a lot of these places, you can get great fashion style photos that aren't Disney, obviously. The castle, of course, is obviously a Disney icon, so...
Yeah, if you want something less obvious, head down Main Street. The castle, you're getting
or
the
those
castle.
ones like around Harambe or in the
Yeah,
Morocco
obviously,
Pavilion.
yes, everything else we've mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, most of the other ones we've mentioned, but the castle is such an icon that, just bear that in mind, unless you're doing the castle wall shots. And there are a lot of great spots to shoot the castle wall.
Yeah.
All right, so there you have it. 5 great locations outdoor for fashion and style photos at Walt Disney World. Share with us some of your favorite locations on social media this week at 1923 Main Street. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Follow along and visit us at 1923mainstreet.com. We'll see you again next week, and have a magical day.
Bye-bye.